Suzanne, I wanted to congratulate you on behalf of all the Russian team, all the national sales directors and all sales directors and every consultant, every guest who were today during the seminar and listening to your speech. And special thanks for coming to Russia. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It is such an honor and a privilege. It really is. I had no idea that I would absolutely fall in love. Well, I've always been in love with Mary Kay, but fall in love with the Russian women in Mary Kay, and also the leaders. My husband and I are so impressed. So thank you for this opportunity. Really, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's been fantastic.
Thank you so much. You know, we got a lot of things, and we also got just little regret that the time just flown away, and that was not enough time to speak with you because you shared so many great ideas. And we wanted to use this opportunity while you're here to ask you a few questions which we couldn't discuss during special meeting with national sales directors. And the first question was about great idea which you shared. This idea is about award for the best husband.
Okay.
How do you choose?
Well, first off, I have to tell you that we didn't start off with a whole lot of husbands. So I had to ask people to nominate, to write a letter about their husband. What makes their husband so special? How does he help you in the business? How does he support your family? What things does he do to make your life easier, enrich your life? And so I had to ask a couple of my directors to write letters, and they did. And a couple of them came in, only a few, and I read them through. And I picked the winners. So the person that won, the man that won, the husband that won, is the one that the story touched my heart. Sometimes it made me cry, and sometimes it just made me think how far he had come. Maybe he started to be very not supportive, and then he really turned around and he embraced the Mary Kay opportunity, not only for his wife but his family. And so awarding that person the first couple of years was a pretty easy task. And then as this award became more popular, we had more nominations. So these are nominations of husbands of directors, okay? And they don't really vote. It's the one that I select. And then, of course, that husband is invited to come to seminar with his wife, of course. We give the special award on our area night that we have at seminar. You could do this locally if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be done at seminar, but I definitely suggest it be done once a year. Okay, and then after you had a couple of years of it, then you can also invite the other husbands that have been previously nominated to be able to be on stage with the current winner, kind of like the Go Give Award. You know, it's the same thing. The Go Give Award, only all of the husbands from all of the years. Now, one of the things that's really great about this is the former Husband of the Year award has a responsibility to keep up that pace of supporting, helping, and also even teaching and training at some of our local or area events. And they do that with just they do it beautifully. So that's how it started, and we kept it going every year.
That's an amazing idea because it really gives a lot of support for women, and I love the idea that you have to continue the same pace which you got when you got your award. This is great. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, sure. And I have to tell you too, is that most men are never given any awards. They're not given awards at their work, at the office place. They're not given any award. So many times when they're given the award, it's the first time they've ever received a plaque, the first time they've ever had standing ovation, the first time they see their wife in the audience with tears down her eyes. And he will get emotional, and both of them will be on stage together, and they're both really full of deep emotion for this, because it's the first time anyone has ever thanked them for a job well done. And it's his most important job as a husband, as a supporter, and also many times as the father of their children. So it's very tender.
It's so important to say about recognition, right? This is importance of recognition and the sign
validates
and sign, even for men. So men are the same like women. For them, it's also important.
It's the same thing, right? Exactly. You have it.
Yep. Thank you. A very important question is, you have very big national area and you have a lot of sales directors. How do you prioritize who to focus on?
Okay. Well, one of the things that I do is I want to make sure that I focus a lot on my first line offspring directors. These are the directors who came out of my personal unit. And this came to me when I had a group of directors that were feeling badly because they said, Suzanne, you know, you became a national sales director and we lost our senior. And it never occurred to me that they lost their senior director. It never occurred to me. So I realized I needed to start a program that would support the directors that made this whole thing really possible, and that's my first line offspring directors. So I decided that I'd start having once a month contests with them, and if they produced a certain amount of production or had at least 3 company qualified new personal team members, personals, that they would receive a gift card from me. And they would also receive recognition in a once a month newsletter only for first line directors. So I started to do this about halfway in the year, but I realized that it was a great thing to do every year. So I would change the promotion. Sometimes I would do jewelry, sometimes I would do a gift card, sometimes I would have a very special luncheon for them at career conference, leadership conference, or seminar. So I didn't do exactly the same all the time for my first lines, but one of the things that I can tell you that I did do that was super effective is that once a year I would visit them wherever they lived, and I would do a workshop for their consultants, a guest event, and then usually take them and their husband, if they're married, out to dinner and have time with them. Focus on their goals, focus on their family, focus on what's important to them. And it really helped me reacquaint myself with all of my first line, and also help them all start to bond together, to create more synergism, to create more ideas, to create more feeling of being a belonging, a sense of belonging. You know, one of the things that is so important for people is to have a sense that they belong, that they have a sense that they're important. And so that was the reason why I started the first line Pride, is what it's called. One of the other things that we do too is that all of our directors and the husbands, all of them, receive a birthday card. And my husband makes sure that the husbands get pretty funny birthday cards. All of the husbands of the directors. All the
husbands of all directors of the whole national area.
Yes.
Okay.
So he picks out sometimes, shall we say, inappropriate cards. But the husbands love it. And then I always sign it and say, I'm sorry, my husband picked out this card. You know he is sick. He's like sick in the head sometimes, no. But they love it and they laugh. And then all of the directors in our national area also receive a birthday card from us as well. And we always talk a little bit about them in the card. I always tell them about their qualities that I love about them, not just about the business, but I talk about in the personalized letter to them in their card, what qualities, then what skills and what talents I feel that they've been blessed with, and how they bless everyone else. So that's something that we've continued to do over the years for sure. So going back to the first line though, the first line Pride is that I know that that's the foundation of our national area. And whatever you concentrate on will grow, okay? So whatever you concentrate on will grow. So the people that are within my unit, the consultants, I tell them all the time, when you become a director, you're gonna get to do this, and you're gonna get to do this, because women want a sense of belonging. They also want caliber friendships. They want caliber relationships. They want to be able to hang with these incredible women. And if they know that these women do a lot together, then they're going to want to be part of that even more. So I kind of use it as a little bit of a carrot for my first line consultants in my unit to be able to make that step up to directorship, to be part of the caliber of first line Pride. So it's another real active benefit.
I love this idea, and it's really important. Thank you so much. And when did you start your program, First Line Pride?
Well, I started that about 10 years ago. And then what I would do is I would have it for a year, year and a half, and then I would maybe slow down doing the monthly goals with them, because I didn't want them to get too used to that I was going to do it all the time. So I do it for like a year or a year and a half. Then I would stop doing the monthly goals, but then do something added on, like a special dinner or something else just for first line, or a breakfast at seminar. But I kept going on the whole program for the last 10 years. And it's the biggest benefit that I can see that it has is it strengthens the first line. It also makes them realize how important they are to the goal of achieving the status of inner circle, because they are foundational to this whole entire business. And I want to make sure that they realize their importance to the success of our national area.
And they also learn from you how to behave with their offsprings, right?
Oh, exactly.
This is a great example.
You're being an example, and so they will follow that example. And maybe my first line directors haven't talked to their offspring directors about their goals, their ambitions, their reasons why they're doing the business, but I do that with them. So it is teaching, because leadership does trickle down. And if we're not, as a national sales director, if I'm not providing that example, it's probably not going to happen anywhere. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. You have a system in everything, as I understood from these several days talking with you. What system of events do you have for national area, for your unit meetings, or whatever? Could you explain?
Sure. I really believe that a national sales director is very effective if she participates in a unit meeting. Now, that doesn't mean that she organizes it all, but maybe she participates because she wants to bring guests. I want to bring a guest to a unit meeting. I want to be able to see how I can bring up my first lines by the unit meetings that I participate in. But if I'm not going to a unit meeting, then I don't have anywhere to take my guests. If I'm not participating in a unit meeting, then when I do bring someone in, there's no structure for them to come up in the business. So I realized as a national sales director, I may have stopped doing unit meetings, but that doesn't mean I stopped participating in unit meetings. So the difference for me is that being a participant, I still teach, I still train, but I don't organize it. I just come as like a weekly guest. Okay. Mm-hmm. The other activities as a national sales director that I think are really important is having a once a year retreat, and we've had those for years. They're casual, they're fun. We have a lot of husbands that come to this, and it's usually a 2-day event. And we try to make it as inexpensive as possible, but this is when we focus not so much on the mechanics of the business as the heart of the business. Mm-hmm. Because I know that many times we are teaching how to book a class, how to sell, how to close, how to recruit, how to team build. But many times we're not concentrating on the heart of the business, the relationships, the being able to learn personality types, how to work with a different personality, how to be able to avoid conflict, how to be able to solve a problem. The things that we don't typically think of in terms of skills, we're teaching in terms of people skills or soul skills or relationship skills. That's pretty much what we focus on at the retreat. And we have a lot of role playing. We have different scenarios where they can watch people being able to, how to be able to overcome really good objections. We role play that. We role play when there is a problem, how to be able to discuss the challenge and be able to come to a conclusion. So we teach things at retreats that will help their heart, that will help their soul, that will help their relationships. We even have a marriage class.
Interesting.
To teach about love languages. I don't know if you know about love languages, but there are 5 love languages. And this is how people interpret love. This is how they feel loved. And there are 5 different ones. And usually your husband is not what yours is. Okay? Usually not. And when you first start your relationship together, we use all of them. We use sense of touch. We use time together. We use affirmations. We use all that. We also do gifts, and we do all of them. But when sometimes we get married, then we just use one. Maybe that's acts of service. And then we wonder like, well, why does my husband not feel loved? Because his love language isn't acts of service. Maybe his love language is time spent. And all he needs is a little bit of private time with you. That's all he needs. So he doesn't necessarily need you to fix him dinner all the time. But you know, if a wife and a husband are on two different planes and they don't understand that, then they're talking literally two different languages to each other. So we've had many things that have to do with strengthening the marriage. If you strengthen a marriage, then that woman in that marriage is going to be able to really soar in her career, because a woman is only going to be as successful as how she feels at home. If things are going well at home, she feels like she can follow her dream and marry Kay. But if she doesn't feel like things are good at home, she can't follow her Mary Kay. In fact, it'll be very distracting for her. So.
Interesting. You know, we love being trained. We love going to different trainings, and there is sometimes situation when sales directors are going too much on different coach sessions, trainings outside of Mary Kay. And now you're talking about that you are teaching and training love languages.
Yes.
But how you balance this idea, like, you know, not to move from, like, you have to sell.
Right.
Nothing happens until somebody sells
something. Right.
Yes. How you train them, how you balance that, and how you persuade them not to go on these numerous trainings. I'm sure in the United States it's even more than here.
Oh, of course it is, and it's creative avoidance. So I talk about this quite a bit, is that if we become a workshop junkie, then we're addicted to workshops. We're addicted to go to this person, this person, this person. We keep going to workshops, but we never put into action what we've actually think we learned. So I talk about that because I really believe that once a year, you should go to something that will improve you personally. And it's probably going to be sponsored by Mary Kay. Probably. Now, if you're living in an area that doesn't have these types of things, then go to a workshop that's highly recommended. That will be personal improvement. And for some people, their churches offer that. And that's great, but no more than that. Because you can only do what you can assimilate. And if you can't assimilate it, then you can't do it. So you're always getting another idea, another idea, another idea, and not putting into practice the ideas you heard the first time. So I talk about creative avoidism because I think that it's a way where people can seem like they're busy. They can seem like they're really working hard, but in actuality, all they were doing is sitting in another workshop. Yeah. So we just watch that. Distractions, huge.
Thank you so much. I think it's really important because sometimes it becomes distraction not only for a woman. Her husband thinks that this is her Mary Kay business, going to different trainings, so she doesn't make money. Instead, she's just going and learning and learning and learning without putting this into action.
Oh, it's a real problem. It's a problem in the United States as well. And I think maybe all over the world. We as women, we want to take in all this information. We want to take in all the education. But we have to stop ourselves and say, what are we doing with what we have? So there's a saying that I like to use, and it says, if you don't do with what you've got, you wouldn't do with a whole lot more. I don't know if you can translate that.
I'm sure we will do it. We will definitely do it. Thank you. So unit meetings, I got it. Retreat, anything else special?
Well, I think it's really good that directors, when they go to seminar, that they really encourage people to see the big picture. So go together. Have something as a director and as a national area that distinguishes you as a national area. Maybe it'll be a beautiful scarf, maybe it'll be pom-poms, maybe it'll be something that you wear with your suit, that you have a distinguished thing that shows your national area off, because you want to brand your area. And so seminar is a great way to be able to do that, but also that you're teaching as a national sales director how to create the seminar experience the very day after seminar just finished. So talk about seminar all year long. Remember, whatever you talk about, you'll bring about. And even suggest that people are putting so much away every week from their Mary Kay sales. so much, maybe whatever that amount is. So at the end of the year, they have plenty of money for whatever it takes to get to seminar. Now, career conference is the same thing. I believe that career conference is a time for a lot of consultants to attend. And that's a time when a director needs to spend a lot of time with her consultants. And so the national sales director, this is a time when she needs to spend also with her directors. A little bit of time there. And that's all on skill building. That's all on product knowledge. Those are the things that build her skills as a professional. And the retreat I just talked about. So pretty much 3 major things per year. And those are, of course, systematically over the year time, so that things aren't too close together, that it doesn't take too much of a hit for anyone financially. But really, you'd be surprised in 52 weeks how much someone can save for all 3 of those events, so they could go to all 3.
Wow.
Right. Okay. And it's very little, really, but they systematically take that from some of the profits that they're earning in their business.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much, because our country is really big, and it's always, sometimes they perceive it like taking money out of family pocket, which is, and this is, thank you for the idea. I'm sure our nationals would use it a lot.
Yeah. Well, another way to do that too is have recognition for people who have a special events account. And so all the consultants who have an event account, that they open it up, stand up, we want to give you recognition. And they don't have to say how much is in that, but that they're regularly depositing weekly into those accounts. And I can't tell you how the attendance will come up. It will definitely be there. When women have the money to go, then they're going to be there, because they've anticipated it all year long.
So you actually sell the seminar on the next day after the end of the seminar.
Right. What's going to happen next year? And then probably after seminar, usually about 3 months after seminar, it's usually the retreat. It depends upon, of course, where they live in the country because of the climate. So sometimes that's in October or November. And then of course, your leadership conference will come in the early spring, I imagine. So they're spaced far enough apart that they can afford them not only financially, but they have things lined up with whoever can watch the children for them, however the time is going to be taken off. Now remember, when I taught the nationals class, I have a calendar. Those events are also on the calendar. So they're preset on the calendar way early in the year, so that the directors can all plan towards them a year in advance.
For me personally, yesterday I was writing down a lot of notes from your speech during National Sales Director Special Meeting. And for me personally, it was very important, your advice on paying special attention to the family, because I've got the family, and sometimes I'm so workaholic and obsessed with my ideas and work. So it's my boss, Alla, she always tells me, be very much focused on family and pay attention to the family. So all the advices which you were given yesterday were just great and spoke to my heart. Thank you so much for that. This is just personal from the interview, besides the interview. The next question is about your emeritus status. Emeritus, how to pronounce it correctly? Emeritus status? Emeritus status. You just started this, you just got it. So now, what you're focusing on now? What you are spending your time on?
Right. Okay, well, because we have a very big family, our focus is really on our family. And because of Mary Kay and investing our money correctly while I was an active national, we're really able to go visit our family all over the United States. And we have a lot of grandchildren, so we spend time with each one of them. But the other thing that I'm doing is I'm being asked to speak in a lot of places for Mary Kay, for retreats and for special events and for special guest events. So I've been very active doing that as well. And even though I'm a retired national, I feel like in a lot of ways I'm at my very best, because now I don't really have the responsibilities of a large national area. So if you ask me to come and speak, I only have to think about that. I only think about what the topic I'm speaking on versus all the things to be thinking about. So in many ways, it's been extremely liberating because I can be my very best as a retired national. It's sort of like relaunching. I didn't really stop, I just kind of relaunched. Yeah.
What is your dream now?
Oh, my dream is still to be able to help women see how great they really can be. I share that dream that Mary Kay had. I believe that when a woman really realizes how great she can really be, you not only change her family, but you can change the community. And if you can change the community, you can change the place that she lives and the world around her. I really believe that. I've seen it happen multiple times, and that's still my dream. And if that means with Mary Kay Cosmetics, then that's great. If it means it's with Mary Kay, but it also means that I could be doing more active work with my church, that's great as well. Any arena that I feel like I'm put in, I can not only be a witness that women have greatness within them, but they also have enormous power to change the world. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now is the beginning of the seminar year.
Yes.
And we have a lot of dreams, a lot of plans. What would you recommend to the national sales directors and their areas? What to focus on now?
Right. Well, I think that there'll be things that you have heard that will just speak to you. Like you'll think, okay, I can do that. And when you think you can do that, then do it. Do it with all your heart, might, mind, and soul. And don't hold back. Now, you may not believe that you can do everything I've talked about, but you can do something, and that's something you can do, you should definitely go for. Because here's what happens. You do a couple of things right, and you keep doing them and doing them and doing them, then you're going to find that things explode and they start happening, and then your energy goes up. And then when your energy goes up, your people start to succeed. And when your people start to succeed, your area starts to succeed more. I mean, there's nothing that makes a national sales director more happy than her people succeeding. I mean, that makes her so happy. So, but it all starts with us. It starts with us making a few changes. And like I said earlier, is that the door that got us here is not the same door that's going to get us to the next step. We have to find new doors of opportunity. As the leader among leaders, is we find doors of opportunity, and we are courageous enough and bold enough to walk through them. The perfect example in my life was my mother. She was a top director. And she passed away at 87 years old, driving a pink Cadillac. And when she passed away, and she was in the hospital for a long time, her last words to me, and I didn't know these would be her last words. Her last words to me is, "Did you deliver the eye creams to Betty Clump?" That's what she asked me, "Did you deliver the eye creams?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom, I did, yes." I mean, I'm an Inner Circle National Sales Director, and I'm taking a delivery to Betty Clump in my mother's pink Cadillac. And I'm like, that is a dedicated leader. And we didn't know that would be her last words to me, but it was. But it was so perfect, because dedication. None of our mothers taught us to be losers. None of our mothers taught us to just settle for mediocre. Our mothers taught us to be strong women and not settle and be all that we can be. And when you're tired, get up. And when you don't have any energy, act like you do. And when you feel like everything is falling apart, bring it together, because it's our responsibility as the leader to make that happen so that it can happen for other people. We're the start, but we're also the finish.
Thank you. I even don't know what to ask you even more. I'm so much impressed with you, with your passion, with your heart, with every word you are saying. And we have big dream. Tara, Allah, we all have big dream. We want each national sales director of our team, Russian and Belarus, we want each and every one of them go on summit. And they can achieve it, but many of them do not believe it, that they can. Right. I'm sure each can do it. They're debuted as nationals. They're strong women, but they even don't try. This is in my perception, because when we tell them each of you is invited, we see that they do not believe it. What would you recommend? Because for them it's important to develop offsprings. In order to be on a summit, they have to develop offsprings. How to change this situation and go on summit and develop new offsprings and give away the job to a new sales director from their personal unit?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to fix that kind of thinking. So I would just say is go look at yourself in the mirror and hold your little head and say, girl, clean up your thinking. Clean up your thinking. This isn't like you. You can do anything. You became a national sales director. You can do anything. You've got to believe that you can first. Even if that belief is just a little bit of spark, you've got to add to that spark. Now, once you have said, wait a minute, I can do this, then you'll start getting ideas. But if you think you can't do it, you won't get an idea. Ideas don't come to you if you don't think you can. So you've got to change the thinking right now. Decide you can and tell yourself you can. And then ideas will start to flow. Oh, I could start working with the 5 people in my unit. I could go start to do a couple of interviews with them. I can goal set with them. I can have conversations with them and their husbands about the money they make as a director. You'll start getting ideas, and when the ideas come, you'll start doing the action. And when the action comes, then you'll start getting the result. But it all started with the moment you said, girl, get a hold of yourself. You can do this. You got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will. So please clean the thinking up, not just for you, but for all your tomorrows as well.
Thank you, Suzanne. Just the last words for national sales directors, or the last piece of advice, or whatever you want to say, just say. If you want to add or something, what you would recommend.
What would I leave with you? I have never in my 40 years been as touched personally as I have been with my days at this seminar in Russia. And it's not the glitter and the glamour, it's the people that you are. It's the heart and the soul and the minds that you have. I'm impressed because I feel your spirit. I feel your humor. I feel your trials. I feel some things that you're sad about. But here's what I know. I know that no matter where you are or who's listening to this, that you're supposed to listen to this. If I'm the messenger to tell you that you can do this, then I'm grateful for that. I want to be the messenger because you can do this. I want you to just pretend for a minute that I'm Mary Kay and I'm looking into your soul and I'm saying, you can do this because you really can. I want to tell you how much I've loved my time with you, and I pray for your success. Thank you so much for having me. God bless.